Hi friends and new friends, I'm Tao Satoshi, and you're watching Cash Alternative TV. Well, as you know, if you've watched my show for a while, I look for ways that Dash can become an alternative to cash. And in one of the geographical areas that this becomes more apparent is in Latin America, both for remittances and for stores of value for countries with devaluating currencies, such as Venezuela, which is currently experiencing an economic crisis. And JZA of the Bitcuners, that goes by JZA, he noticed that Latin America could use more exposure to Dash. So he's starting a news show, and he came on my show to talk about it. Please enjoy. Okay, in the latest Cash Alternative TV episode, I have JZA here. He's one of the founding members of Bitcuners, and we're here to talk about himself, the proposal for Bitcuners, and his latest proposal. So welcome to the show, JZA.
Hi, thank you. No.
So for the people who aren't familiar with you in Slack, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and explain how you got into digital currency and Dash in particular.
Yeah, well, I always been like a tech guy, being a developer, a Python developer and other languages for a while now. And I've always been trying to look for new technology, for peer-to-peer technologies. And I learned about Bitcoin back in 2010. And I was impressed, but I wasn't really into it until a year later when I got my first Bitcoins. And that was in 2011, and I did some conferences on it, just as a part of like this economical revolution that was going to come, like the network of value as opposed to the network of attention given by social media and social networks. And fast forward a couple of years, and then I had a group, and that group was called the Bitcuners, as a crypto-based group, and we basically talk about all the news around the crypto sphere, the blockchain technology, and everything in between. So yeah, we've been basically meeting up weekly for the past three and a half years, and we've been well, thriving. We've been growing. At the beginning, it was very technical based. It was mostly about like what new libraries were out for, like, managing blockchain and trying to explain blockchain and trying to even create our own coins and our own blockchain, sort of like there were competing technologies on blockchain back then. With currencies like NXT was completely created from scratch in Java and other technologies that were coming into table. So it was very geeky at the beginning, I must say. Then after a few years, a whole group of more financially based, background-based members decided to join in. And we grew exponentially, and we basically shift a little bit from technology to more like investing strategies and all these things. I always try to see it from a technical base. So I started creating robots or bots to do the trading. And from then on, it was just basically trying to pick what's the next organism that we were going to pick out. Like we're trying to get into the whole communities as far as like understanding like where were they going, and as a way like, oh, this community is solid, we should invest in it. Oh, I should recommend it. And that's when we stumbled on Dash, and I saw the governance model. I saw the two-tier node-based ecosystem, and I was like, wow, this technology looks fresh, looks new, and I definitely want to be a part of it. So from then on, I started preaching, hey guys, we should check out Dash and check out like what they're doing. Unfortunately, and this is like, it's been since day one, some of the members, they're not fluent in English. So most of the documentation, most of the community-based that was forming, where it was a little bit like, okay, well, you get into it and then talk to me about it on the next meeting or something like that. So it was a little bit like a proxy for all this information. And of course, we do have expats, we do have people from other places that are fluent in English, and they have kind of joined in, but they also don't have that community-based chip, because their background is mostly investments and more like financial things than open source community type things. That is mostly our background. So it's been a developing change of tunes for most of us that are members of Bitcuners. But once we start landing these proposals as a proof of concept, like, hey, let's get in, let's see how it goes, and then we would try to showcase what a community can do for you besides just get the price pump. And that's basically when we start with our meetings. We start with this program Dashboard Drinks, which is still going on. And what we do is basically we let them buy their refreshments. We meet at a Starbucks, so they buy their coffee, their cake, or whatever. And at the end of the meeting, they show us the receipt, and we basically refund them with Dash. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, Dash is cash. So, but what we did that for, because back before we started this program, it was very hard because our meetings were usually out of business hours. So here in Mexico, the banks online close doors, so like they don't allow you to do any transactions during off time. So you have to wait your transaction to be approved the day after. And most of the people that went to meetings, they didn't have their transaction ID number, which is like kind of like a certain amount of digits you need to make any transfers. So they couldn't join into the exchange, and they basically didn't have much knowledge on their banking. So it was really hard for them to get into crypto, because it took like 3 weeks, because we meet weekly. It took like 3 sessions for them to actually finally get their first cryptocurrencies. And
Wow.
with these dashboard drink models, they were like, from the first session, they were leaving the session with some cryptocurrencies, with some Dash on their pocket. And that was amazing. It was also a tool that, once you own some cryptos, once you own some Dash, you can come the next meeting and see how much it has grown. So that's when a lot of people start seeing it like, okay, this is real. I'm having cryptos in my hand, and they're growing in value, and let's jump in, So a lot of people, even some business owners that were part of the Bitcuners meetups, they actually went in all the way in, and they basically start accepting Dash in their business. And there was a guy that had like a souvenir store in one of the main markets in Cancun, and he was like, "Yep, I'm gonna take Dash and Bitcoin, and let's put a big billboard on my store, and let's see how it goes." And he's still doing that. I haven't really asked him how many Dash or Bitcoin he has gathered since, but we saw it as an opportunity, and we actually, through our links, because we do a lot of events, we actually managed to have a news on the local paper talking about cryptocurrencies and how it can help tourism here in Cancun, and we should definitely, like other business, should definitely take notice. And then we start getting more inquiries on our Facebook page about, okay, when do you guys meet up, and I want to join in. And we start growing even more. Since then, we actually have done basically just manage other initiatives, like people. I'm saying I'm not the Dash spokesperson. This is a free for all. If you have an idea, I'm gonna support you. I'm gonna try to help you for you to understand quicker how the community is growing, how it's behaving, and let's put your pre-proposal on the forums, so you can take tips on how to improve it, and then when you finally launch it, then you will have a better chance of getting approved. So far, we have a couple of people. We have a couple of people that think they can do a great deal of good. They're planning on Dash ATMs, for example. And there's a couple of ideas that they want to do with. There's a big fashion week that they would love to see Dash sponsor, because so far there's been a lot of events that Dash has been sponsored, but very male focus, and I think a fashion week will actually be something fresh and new to the ecosystem, and maybe more our female audience or female users want to step in and make it more diverse, I guess. So those are the things that have been going on in the community. As far as
okay, so it sounds like your little group there is expanding more into becoming a big group and having pushing Dash in Cancun. So it's becoming like as I like to joke about it on Twitter, it's like the capital of Dash Nation,
Yeah.
So, and but you got some competition with that, but that's another video coming up soon.
Right.
But I have a couple of questions for you about the actual Bitcoiners group. When you started off, you're one of the founding members, and you started off as a Bitcoin only group. And how did you find the reaction was when you started to push Dash as well as Bitcoin among your group?
Well, we never really look at it as a Bitcoin group. We always were about the technology, because even from the very start, I mean, by the time we launched the group, we were already looking into mining different coins and different technologies, different algorithms to mine. You have Litecoin with Script, and you have SHA-256 with Bitcoin. So it was always about the technology, and that was a good thing, because we also come from a Linux-based nature, and we saw cryptocurrencies like different distros. And sure, we have the distros that you pick on. Hey, Ubuntu is for kids, and Arch is the real one for real guys and real men, and all that. We have that friendly competition, but we're used to it. We're used to it, and we saw these diverse cryptocurrencies. We were like, oh, let's check it out. But they grew so much that it was like, okay, it's too many. We should at least try to focus on the main ones. And we have a lot of Ethereum guys in the group. We have a lot of actually, we have a lot of people that are very into what's the new ICO, for example. Hey, have you checked out this new ICO? Have you checked out this new coin that has came up? It has grown 200-300%, and because now we switch to investing, so we try to look for the new up and coming coin that you can invest early and then get the pump on price. So it was always about everybody, about all the coins. So even right now, we label ourselves as a cryptocurrency user group. However, the Bitcoin-ish logo stick around because we designed it, and it looks cool, and we decided to keep the name. But right now, I mean, regardless, I mean, our meetups are basically very Dash focused, in the sense that it's being sponsored by them. We actually do a little clip every meetup. If you go to our Facebook group, every week we have a little video, and we give props to Dash, and we actually talk a little bit about why we have this sponsorship. So other people that want to do their meetup, they can oh, okay, well, I want to learn more about Dash,
Okay, and I see by the banner behind you that you guys are well into Dash right now, and that's a very nice looking banner you have.
Yeah, we actually used that for the next big proposal that we had, which was a business event, a business focused event for merchants. And we actually wanted to get focused on the new technology of Dash with the POS. We were ready to launch. It was the POS from Dash, and also the solution from BlockPay that they actually had a bit of a work with Dash in the past, and we wanted to showcase the technology. Hey, business, now you can load this up in a tablet on the cashier, and you will be able to easily get cryptocurrencies on your business. However, the thing is that the POS got delayed, and at the same time, BlockPay also have some internal struggle with the company. So in the end, we didn't have those solutions ready for the event, which was a little bit of, it wasn't the right timing and anything, but at least we got the word out. We got a lot of businesses during that event, and even more businesses that they brought up later, about 6 or 7 businesses straight out of the gate, and maybe 4 or 5 that has been coming slowly. But it was a soft sell. It was never about, let's use Dash tomorrow, or let's use crypto tomorrow. It was more about like, hey, it's a technology that you can use. It's much better than taking cards. Cards here in Mexico take a lot of time. I went to the US. It was really easy. It was, they got my card. You swipe it in a Jack in the Box, and here you go, sir. Here you actually have to wait around 3 minutes for the system to dial to the bank and come back, and they put your PIN. It's horrible here. So when you get the QR scanning technique, it was like, oh wow, this is so fast, and I already have it. I don't have to wait 1 day, a couple of days to get my coins or my payment, and that really is an advantage that we can leverage to sell it to business. And I think that since then there's a food truck kind of not chain. It's more like a food truck space, but there's different trucks. And lately, these couple of weeks, they've been having events, Dash events there by a completely different group of people. Inspired by us, of course. One of the members is a member of Bitcuners, but he's the coach of his football team. And all of these trucks are established by ex-football players from his team. So he got the current football team and other kids from the college, and they do these Dash events there. And so far it's been great. He already managed to capture 4 businesses himself, all by himself. Even the dentist, while he went to a checkup, he managed the dentist to accept Dash. So there's definitely things moving, and we're definitely inspiring people, and that was the plan from the beginning. I mean, we don't have to do everything ourselves, but if we can help, you can join in, and we get all the information that you want.
And that's an interesting point that you brought up earlier about how Dash is kind of like an investment, but it's also a community, like a social experiment, Exactly. And so you guys were involved in Bitcoin. What's your take on the Bitcoin community versus how the Dash community handles itself?
Yeah, well, it's funny because a lot of my friends are Bitcoin users, and I probably shouldn't say this because it was a little bit extreme example. But some guy just posted that, well, it's good that we have these discussions in Bitcoin and there is not one leader, because there's not one guy dictating the solutions. And I was like, well, you can see it that way, but you can also see it that you have spent 2.5 years not implemented any technology at all. And basically you have been staggering in your current technology. The current technology that you have been deteriorating, and there is no improvement. And yes, you build new technology to fix the problem, but you also don't have a venue to implement it. So in the end, it's a loss for for a couple of years now. And I don't see it as a plus. I mean, you can see it as a virtue, but it's really hard to defend as a virtue. So we definitely think that having this governance model, I wish more coins had them. It's something that should happen. I also being involved with NXT in the past, and they did kind of like a crowdfunding to fund their developers, but that money wasn't that much. So they always were very bootstrap community. They built amazing technology. I mean, their wallet is super incredible. Have 1,000 features. It's impressive what they have done, but it's also not good that they have done it on such a shoestring budget. like, if you build this amazing technology, you should be able to get paid for it, And also we have BitShares on the other side, which also have like, I don't know, $162 million in their coffins or whatever you want to call it, in their reserves. And they don't have a mechanism to hire developers. So they're trying to come up with, contests and they don't want to take too many jobs too early. So they don't have a mechanism to award this work that needs to be done on BitShares. They recently had an issue with their blockchain that had Ned having to come down from his project in EOS and quickly patch it up in like 3-4 hours. Okay, the network is going, and the blockchain kind of stopped for like a couple hours. So you see the issues on other coins, and it's great that Dash is not only very well funded but also have a roadmap. Well, many have a roadmap, but a roadmap that includes not just a linear growth. I like this what Evan said. Like we shouldn't grow linearly. We shouldn't like harvest 1, 2, 3. We should grow exponentially. We should harvest 10 and 10, 20, 20, 30. And I think that's one of the things that we need to like check out. Also, astronauts need to be aware, because I think a lot more proposals should be made. I'm actually surprised that there's so little. Even right now, there are not more than 20. And I think that by now, and because of the price increase, they should be like 100 at least. So I think we should grow exponentially if we want to, like, just have the network that we wish to have one day for Dash to be $1,000 or more.
Yeah, I think that Dash, what it does better than any other coin is it has well-rounded, like it has everything that you would want to have in a cryptocurrency. Dash has. Like, it might not be the best in every little aspect. Like, it could be arguably the best in a lot of the aspects, but even if it's not, it has the complete package. And that's the one thing that I like about Dash. That's why I'm around here. And so the other thing you said about the governance system, you took advantage of that and you had a proposal for the Bitcuners. And I want to talk a little bit about that if I could. Do you want to explain what it is that you proposed and what the results were from it?
Well, yeah, I mean, I already covered a little bit of that. Is basically we had the reimbursing system, the Dash for drinks, where people, bought their refreshments, and then they basically got their consumption being paid full in Dash. They just showed the ticket, they send it through a Telegram group that we have, whether we share, and we pay it later that day or the next day, etc. Now, one thing that has been going on is like, there was a price increase, which benefit everybody. A lot of the proposals suddenly saw their budget, grow 2 or 3 times. One thing that happened in ours is that, we got a little bit overpaid. At the same time, there was we actually kept that money, and we have extend our period. So right now we don't need to put more, at this point at least, we don't need to put more proposals, because it has grown so much that we keep that program growing, evolving. Also, it takes more Dash now, because we also have grown a lot. We now average about 30 to 50 people each meetup. Which is also increase the price, of course, because you're paying their bills for all that. But I think it's a good investment, because thanks to that investment, we actually have like a voluntary workforce of people that comes with new networks of people that we can get into new spaces in the society. We have retirees on a pension that comes and say, well, I actually want to use Dash to save my pension that I get, so I can, extend the value of it, as opposed to having Mexican pesos or even dollars as a different kind of investment. So we also have people that come from expats. We have people from Korea. We have people from from the UK, from the United States, from Canada as well, and also from South America. We have from Venezuela and from Paraguay / Brazil, guys living like on the border. So we get different perspectives on how this cryptocurrency can help them. The girl that is from Venezuela, she actually sends money back home, and it's great to use cryptocurrencies for that because, I mean, it's really expensive to move money around internationally, and having this method is so much simple. And she has a guy that he trusts in Venezuela that take his cryptos and give fiat to his family and send it through the bank's network. So that's one way to do it. And well, his family is, I mean, I told her, well, you can, send it directly and they can put it in the bank themselves. But she's like, no, my mom is too old for that. I mean, she just wants to see the money in the bank. And it's things like that. But yeah, I mean, and thanks to that base, we can actually now give back, because one of the things is that the proposals were very local. They were for the benefit of Cancun. Like I said, we do want to build a Dash capital, but at the same time, we want to give back to the network. And that's where the latest proposal comes, which is the Dash news site, Dash Español news site.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. This is your latest proposal to the network, and it's live right now. And I guess I'll give you your forum to try to convince the Masternode owners why they should vote for your proposal and what it is that you plan on doing.
Right. Well, just speaking on what I was saying, that's basically that, well, we have a diverse voluntary force or hands that can help to build this new Dash site. Now, for a while, I've been the moderator and the moderator, administrator of Dash Español Facebook page, Facebook group, and Telegram group. So I've been having these conversations with not just people in Bitcuners, but just from the general internet community, Spanish-based internet community in Dash. So right now, what we want to actually start generating news from around Latin America and from Spain, and all these events that are happening, and hopefully inspire even more events, and just basically give a podcast that can wrap it up, kind of like the Dash Detail podcast, even with a twist, of course, because we want to integrate other ideas from other podcasts. You guys seen it soon, and the idea is basically to just give a whole complete information of what Dash is about. And hopefully that can get traders involved, that can get, people that just want to make a career change involved, and actually maybe be working for Dash in the future. We have people that have come from Latin America, such as Daniel Diaz and Fernando from Spain, that they're core employees of the Dash network, and it will be great if we can have more people coming from Latin America in the future. And I remember the first time I spoke with Evan, I said that we could do like a Dash lab. It was like way before Dash Labs. It was like a year ago, because there was a lot of people from Venezuela in the Telegram group. And they were saying, well, I mean, there was a guy that was looking to do something. He didn't know because he wasn't technically savvy. And I was telling him, well, why don't you use your office and hire developers, and then we can call it, a Dash lab, basically. And unfortunately, the idea never actually went through the way we planned it, and the guy actually, he kind of went away. But it was funny that there like these really tiny chance, and right now we see Dash Labs coming up in Hong Kong, somewhere else in the world. And but I think there's a lot of talent in Latin America to develop, than to work for Dash. There's also, I'm in the Slack, and I'm always coming up with developing ideas that we can like improve the Dash core wallet to make it more multi-sig friendly, for example. like just add a new interface to the tabs on the Dash core wallet, and then people can easily create multi-sig addresses that they can share with their guys to do, like, whatever multi-sig is for. I'm not going to get into it, but just different ideas. And I think that having some lab of developers that just create new things, we can actually have that here. But anyway, I digress. I come back to the to the proposal. I think that is in the future, but right now what we need is information, and information in native Spanish and with different actors. Right now we're going to start with a small team. We have 5 guys already on board, and we're going to produce. We have some quotas that we also have described in the proposal. Hopefully we'll get them, or at least the majority of them. So yeah, we are ready to launch, and I really hope the Masternodes can get behind us so we can have this done fast, because we actually think this is going to be a long-term project, not just a one-time thing. We actually plan to see how well we perform, and as we perform, we can actually we actually have a bigger idea, but we don't want to just come with the whole concept right now. So right now we're just coming with something that is doable, achievable, and as a bootstrap trial, well, not trial, but because it will be as a bootstrap stage, and then we can actually grow from there and give slowly the whole idea of Dash News, Dash Spanish.
Well, if I could interject there for a bit, as a Masternode owner myself, I would definitely give you my votes for this. But I have like a little suggestion, like maybe you could make it kind of like a Primer Impacto type of thing for the Spanish culture. My wife is Spanish; she's from Guatemala, so she watches that show quite a bit, and I find it's a nice format, for giving news and stuff like that. So maybe that's something you guys could look into as well.
Yes, we're actually experimenting with different formats. We did record a couple of them. We didn't publish them because we didn't like the way it looked in the end. So at the same time, we're trying to, because we want to get like the best experience. Well, not just the best experience, but also kind of like something new. Something that hasn't been done before, or has been done but on different topics, not on cryptocurrencies. So make it chill, make it accessible, relatable to people, but at the same time, give the right information and give the something that they can enjoy, not just like be a little bit like I don't want to say bored, but like just like some teacher in a university talking monotonous, like blah 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 blah.
Absolutely, yeah, that's what I mean. Like something fun, like maybe have like a guy going out on the street and talking to people, say, have you heard about Dash? Want to get a Dash wallet? Like something like that. Like you can have the news, but also have that little segment of where a guy goes out and talks to people on the street, right, and stuff like that. And see their reactions and stuff like that. So that's just ideas, but something to make the show pretty cool. To pop.
Yeah, definitely. I think those are great ideas, and we actually did come up with something similar, and we're actually evaluating if we can have. It's just that everything we do, it needs to be done right. We need the equipment, we need the set, the people, because right now we're only 5. So, and from the podcast, just 2 guys from those 5. So right now but I think as we move along, I mean, these formats can grow. We're looking for a set, so we can have like not just one person monologue kind of, but like 2 people, like a round table kind of setup that we can just discuss a topic face to face. That's another idea. So yeah, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. It's only one more week before the Masternodes need to vote. So yeah, I mean, we're definitely gonna get there on time. 100%.
Okay, so if there's any Masternode owners watching this and they may have voted no, or they might not have voted at all, maybe this interview will help you change your mind to give JZA and his Bitcuners some support for a show that is much needed in Latin America, because it's definitely a great use case for cryptocurrency, as you mentioned, with remittances and people trying to save a store of value in Venezuela comes to mind. with their devaluating currency. It's great for people to have Dash. And I think these people need to know about Dash, and it needs to be spread in Central and South America. So give JZA some support and show some votes on the Dash Central. So JZA, do you have anything else to say before we let you go?
Well, check me out I'm on Telegram, I'm on Slack, I'm on Facebook. So if you guys have any more questions, I'm very accessible. You can just, send me a DM, a private message. I'm in the forums as well. So you can also look at me as JZA everywhere in all these different venues. So yeah, and hope that we have your Jets vote and we can get started.
Perfect. Thanks for being on the show, JZA.
Thank you. Bye.
Take care. So that was the interview. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you want to see more from me and Cash Alternative TV episodes. Until next time, remember, Dash is a digital alternative to cash and becoming more so every day. Bye for now.